When I modified the base of this planishing hammer, I moved it up and I left the holes accessible because I knew that I wanted to build something like this to be able to hold the dies. What I've got going on here are all my dies that I got from Desert Hybrids down in the US. And what I've done is I've engraved the radius numbers onto the dies. So what I want to do is I want to make a holder like this so that each of these dies will fit into a grommet, and these will sit on the side of the planishing hammer. What I've done here is I've gone and I've transferred all of my measurements for my template and put it onto this piece of plate steel. So here is where it's going to attach onto the planishing hammer. So these are 3/8 diameter. And then all of these, all the way across, the rest of them are 1.5 inches diameter for this grommet. Now I'm going to go back and scribe all this stuff in and center punch everywhere where all of these need to go. All right, here we go, drill time. So you might be saying to yourself, did you just drill all those holes without any lube? Yeah. Do you need it? Not really. Also, I could have done this with a drill press, but I don't have a drill press, so I like to improvise and use my head to think about things that I'm going to do. So I'm also using a box of shop towels for a tripod. It works. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our grommets that are going to be our actual tool holder. I've measured this out. This is 1.5 inches across inside of here because it didn't come with a book. I just went and picked these up. And I'm going to take 1.5 inch hole saw and drill all our holes for what we need to do. So what I'm doing here is I'm deburring the edges because when you use a hole saw, it leaves kind of a rough edge. And so this just sort of scrapes off that hard little bit that's on there that could potentially cut either your finger or the grommet that you're trying to put in. So now that's pretty nice and smooth. I'll just do that one more last wipe. Get rid of all the swarf, which is actually the technical term for anytime you have chips or bits that come off of a metal cutting tool. There, that's not bad. That's pretty tight. Let's see what it's like with our tooling in there. So that'll keep it from bouncing around on top of there. It's tight enough that it stays in there. It's not going to fall out. This will dampen. If this was steel on steel, we'll wear the shank down. We'll chafe all these edges. So it's going to sit in that rubber nice and tight. It sits in there pretty good. And from the vibration of the hammer, it's not really going to move around on us at all. I'm pretty happy with that. I've gone ahead and I put the die holder on and installed all the grommets. And they're a little bit tight to come out, which is exactly what I wanted. And even the ones back here that I had a little bit of wobbling, they're pretty tight to come out too. You can see that this is a little bit looser than some of the other ones. It goes in. It's got some pretty good tension on it. Not as good as these ones. Worst case scenario, I could always go back with some urethane and pry it up a little bit and squirt it in there after it's painted and we'll be good to go. So the next step, I am going to put an air regulator right here because I normally run about 130 to 150 PSI on my tank. And I want to knock this back down to about 60. So I'm going to have to try and make a template for it and then make it out of steel. And I noticed that this is very slightly wobbly and I don't want that. So I'm going to try and make some kind of brace that goes across here and then back down into these two holes here, which is originally where it mounted. Now up here, this is where the original mounting hole would have been. I put some button head screws in there and it should be good to go.